Global and USA.
And it's not about the USA.
That's right. This one's going to be global. A couple weeks old on this story, but we feel still needs to be looked at.
Still in the month of September.
And really an ongoing situation.
Yeah, right.
So we should still continue looking at this. North Korea is doing another nuclear test, did another nuclear test underground. Basically, it was at the
northeast part of North Korea,
the country.
near the border of China and
right.
North Korea.
And so I guess this one, though, compared to their first one in like 2006 with a magnitude of only like 1, this one hit up with a magnitude of 5. People in Seoul were saying they could feel the remnants of it, right? And there's a lot to be said about how this is their 5th test, I believe, right? In that time since 2006. So we are now just having a person who suggests they can put these nuclear warheads standardized on missiles and in small packages, and we're kind of writing it off as just it's not a real threat. They don't have that technology. Right. Forget about it. Well, when you have a magnitude of a 5 nuclear test that is completely and utterly making shockwaves come through Seoul.
That's real.
That's real. And we have to take into consideration that. So I want to get your thoughts, right? How serious this should be taken. I think I've already given that tone.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Should the international community respond? And how? I guess is another question in that sense, right?
I think obviously it's a huge thing that people need to talk about more. And I think obviously in the United States, we're always, figuring out what's wrong with us first, or trying to. Yeah. And with this election and everything else that's going crazy, it's not making a lot of limelight. But I think it does need some real consideration into understanding what to do, because it's every year, it seems like, when we first heard this, like about North Korea, like we're like, oh yeah, and then every year it just seems to get more real.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's going to be a thing, I feel, if we keep ignoring it, that it's just going to pop out of nowhere, and we've had all this warning. I obviously think that in the international community owes it just on safety of their place or wherever you're from, let alone just South Korea, that's right there. Like, it's going to be very easy to test that on South Korea. But think about once that happens. Like, he's coming after everything. He wants the world, right?
Right.
So I think, just to be more aware, and I think people the lack of education on the situation as well doesn't help the situation, because you can never fully start to heal unless you fully understand it, right? And so I think there's this weird imbalance of having ideas but not really caring because it's not being talked about, but understanding, well, it's nuke, so it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's it's also one of those, it's a big deal, but it's one of those almost Cold War scares of what can we as general populace do, because you have the United Nations and the United States or whoever is all in that concept of who in the world holds the international peace, right? Yep. And to me, it's United Nations and others organizations like such that put restrictions on our countries to say stop nuclear. Like, hey guys, as much as I know you might hate you or I, right? We don't hate each other enough to destroy the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I think this is the first real time, to my knowledge, that South Korea has really put out a warning message. Usually they're just like, oh well, it just happened.
Another test, but this one had a lot more power to it.
So maybe we should help.
What was the kiloton? There was like 50 kilotons of TNT would equal out to what that would have.
Let's think about that. Just let that settle in.